Hello. What's up, everybody? My name is CJ Thomas with my co-host Jonathan Edwards, and this is a Pylon, and this is the preseason to Hate2Pylon. And today we are talking about offensive line. We are offensive linemen, and this is something that we really pride ourselves on, and we are really excited for this episode. Before we get into this episode, I want to shout out Tim Gordon, Tagged Films on IG, for donating, not even donating, for gifting me these awesome pylons. I got this one right here. I got the one in the back, as you can see there. Really dope. We're going to incorporate this somehow. Of course, you have to incorporate it into our show somehow. These are awesome. Maybe we'll get people to sign them down the road. We'll get a couple more. You know, who knows? But without further ado, let's get into the offensive line. What do you think, Jonathan? You ready to go?
Oh, you know it. Offensive line, near and dear to our heart as former high school offensive linemen.
Yes, sir.
We've been there, been in the trenches. If you weren't in the trenches with us,
we don't want you.
Well, we still want you. This might be more educational for you than for those who were in the trenches with us.
You know that song?
No.
Oh, okay. It was the meme. He's like, I'm from
the
the trenches. Because it was the meme where it was like, I think it was Desi who's the artist, where he's like, when you're in the studio, when you're in the studio with someone for the first time, and he's like listening, he's like on the couch, and he's like, I'm from the trenches. And he's like, the trenches. Yeah, he's like,
yeah, I got you.
And then, like the actual song of the trenches, that joint it's pretty fire. I gotta send it to you.
I remember what you're talking about now. It just took me a minute to remember.
All right, I'm back. So let's start it off, right? So what makes a franchise offensive lineman? What makes a superstar lineman, right? So there's multiple variables that go into making a good offensive lineman. But physically, there's I guess there's three things you really need. You need great feet. You want to be nimble on your feet, even though we as offensive linemen, most of the time we're going to be like 260 plus, out there really just kind of, working with other big men, colliding each and every play. You have to have good feet to be able to pass protect, to run, to be able to shuffle side to side. You need to have a good hip bend. You want to be flexible in your hips, especially if you're getting in a 3-point stance the whole time, or, let's only get a 2-point stance if you play tackle, especially if it's a third and long situation, then you want to, which means like, you have like 10 yards, probably 8 to 10 yards or plus that you have to go, and it's obvious passing down. You want to have good hips. You want to have good feet. So you got to have a good base, from the lower half. But other than that, what else do you need to be a good offensive lineman? You need that punch, that good hand placement, but good punch to stone a guy at the point of contact. And those are like the three key things physically that you need. Fast, quick, happy feet, as we used to say, nimble hips, and a good punch, strong physical punch. I still got it. Guys. I still got it.
The hands inside.
Exactly. Hands inside, just like this. Thumbs up. Jack them up. Run your feet.
Chop them feet.
I still got nightmares about
drive.
But those are like physically are the things that you need to have to be a good offensive lineman. And that's something that you look for when you're starting your franchise, and things that you want to have for your lineman. So, Jonathan, what else are some of the things that you think a franchise offensive lineman should possess?
All right. CJ went over the physical aspects. I'm going to go over some of the mental and other intangible aspects. So as far as mentally, one thing every single one of my coaches told me, from Pee Wee football all the way up to getting recruited for college, some of the college coaches we talked to always said one thing they look for in offensive linemen is intelligence.
Yes.
They all said offensive linemen are the smartest players on the field.
Facts.
And the reason for that is, one, you got to know what your role is.
Yep.
Two, you got to know what the person next to you's role is. Because if they mess up theirs, you got to help out. The person next to you has to know if you're helping out over there and they're free, they got to pick up the guy you're supposed to have that you can't because you're helping out. So it's a lot of reactionary. You got to know, one, what the ideal scenario is for you on every play, what the ideal scenario is for the player on potentially either side of you, depending on where you play on the offensive line. But then two, you have to have the smarts to be able to adapt to when things aren't going the way they're supposed to and the way you planned and practiced for them. So you have to have that adaptability to make the right read. Okay, they line up in a 4-3. Boom. Now they walk up a safety to the middle of the field. They walk up two of the linebackers. Now they're in a 5-6-man front. One of them, they're not going to stay in a 6-man front. One of them's going to drop back. Okay, which side is it going to be? So you got to plan for everything. People moving around. Where are they going to be when the ball snapped? Where are you supposed to be when the ball snapped? Where's the ball coming? Is it coming up my gap? It's coming up your gap. You need to know, one, you need to be out of the way.
Right.
Two, the guy in front of you needs to be out of the way. And three, if there's no guy in front of you, you better be picking up that linebacker because you know he's coming.
Screaming down, too, with the full head of steam.
So intelligence, instincts with the reactions. And then the other thing I would say is just the mentality. You got to have a certain mentality to be an offensive lineman. You can't be timid. You can't be afraid. You can't be a pacifist out there. You got to be aggressive. Like we said, you got to have heavy hands. When you go with that punch, you better be stoning them, if not knocking them straight back. Because as an offensive lineman, your job is to move the guy out of the way. As a defensive lineman, all you do is get past him. You can try to go to either side of him. You can try to go through him. Offensive linemen, we don't have that luxury. If the ball's coming up this gap, I have to move you this way.
Talk to him.
I can't just let you go one way or the other and say, oh, the back will read off of this. The back might stink. A good back, yes, you can count on him to be able to bounce a run, make a cut if he needs to. Not everybody has good backs, so you got to have good offensive linemen. You got to know where to go, and you got to have the will and the skill to get them there. So between what CJ said, you got quick feet, you got hip mobility, you got strong punch, and good aim with them. You want to make sure they're inside. You never want to get your hands outside. You're going to call for hold every time. You need the mentality to know where it's going, where the ball is going, where you're going, where the other four offensive linemen are going, the tight end if he's in tight and he's blocking, not going out in the route. And what was the other thing I said? Oh, the will. Yeah, you got to have the will.
The will. Smith
will is
to go do it.
Yes, the will is extremely important because as a defender, there's 11 people trying to get the ball. There's only one person. Usually, it's unless they blitz. Usually 4 to 5 people coming on a rush. So it's one-on-one. If you let them get past you and it's a pass play,
it's you.
It's on you. And as an offensive lineman, you never, ever, ever get your name called unless you mess up.
Exactly.
You can play 50 offensive snaps and play perfectly for 48 of them. You drive them off the ball for 30 rush attempts. You're knocking them 5 yards off the ball every time. 18 pass plays. You got them stoned. They're not going anywhere. You might even get a pancake in.
Yes, sir.
But if you let them get past you twice and beat you, and that defensive lineman gets 2 sacks against you, both of them.
That's all people are going to be talking about.
All they talk about. That guy stinks. Cut him. Get him off the field.
Twitter's going crazy.
Your quarterback hates you. It's like, dude, I only messed up 2 plays.
Your mama
threw
hates
4
you.
picks.
Your sister hates you.
How are you mad at me? You threw 4 picks. I only missed 2 blocks.
They'd be like, oh, if my protection was good, I wouldn't be throwing these picks.
It's like, bro, you threw it from a clean pocket. But it doesn't matter. That's the narrative. The narrative is always going to blame the offensive line.
Exactly. And one more thing. So, like, knowing where the ball's – being offensive line, you know where the ball's going to go. But at the same time, you pretty much know the whole offense just kind of has like a quarterback does, because you're involved in the run game. You're involved in the pass game and the screen game. So when we say we're going to do like a 500 pass play, so let's say 527 Z curl, right? So 527, the 5 Z's is a 5-step drop. So that means that the quarterback is going to make 5 steps, plant, and be looking to drive the ball down the field. So that's like at least 5 seconds you need to have your pass protection ready and not get beat. You have a 397 slant. That means there's going to be a 3-step drop by the quarterback, and they're going to be looking to get the ball quicker, which is, that means you just have to kind of get the hands down of the defender, so that way when the ball comes out quick, they're not going to be batted down. So you have to have your mind shift from, okay, so how long is the quarterback going to have the ball in his hands? Is it a short play? Is it a long play? If you know it's going to be a deep route, that means you need to work your ass off to make sure, because sometimes the quarterback might need more time in the pocket to get the ball downfield versus if it's a 1-step drop, a 3-step drop of a quick pass. But even then, you have to move quicker to be able to make sure that the offensive line or defensive lineman, doesn't jump up with these athletic freaks at defensive end, at defensive tackle, who can jump up and get a hand in there and swat the ball down. And then you still in trouble for that, because that's something that you messed up, because you're supposed to cut his legs, get him on the ground, and so you can give a clean pocket for the quarterback. So you have to know, you have to be ready for pass plays, running plays. There's plays where running backs can take off when they're not in the route. There's place you obviously see wide receivers take off when they have to block. I mean, there's a lot of good oh my goodness. There's a lot of good wide receivers out there that block downfield, such as Terry McLaurin for the Washington football team. And, other guys like that, Michael Thomas, yeah. But, you have wide receivers who do good in the blocking game, but there's a lot of wide receivers who don't. But offensive line have to be on it every single play. We have to know if it's a run play, know it's a pass play, change your position, and still be able to do it from the same stance without giving away too much of if you're going to be running, pulling to the left, pulling to the right, pass blocking, going forward. You have to be a good center of gravity to be able to go either way. We're athletes, baby. So, with
Smart
all that,
athletes. We didn't even talk about calling protections, making adjustments, any of that.
There's so much that goes into it. It's so tough. But what we're going to talk to you about now is the franchise offensive lineman. Guys, you know who can do it all, and you have every faith in them to start your franchise with. And every position on offensive line is very important, but the money position that everyone talks about, all through the media talks about, is the tackle position, more specifically the left tackle position. They made a whole movie about it, The Blind Side. Michael Orr, who's trash, who's garbage, whatever. It was a good feel-good story. We love you. We're glad that you made it out. Yada, yada. That's pushed, right? So left tackle, you have the best edge rushers presented to you at all times. You're going against outside linebackers who are not going to say half your size, but definitely a solid 250 range with quick, nimble hands. But also you got guys who are Jack Diesel who can lift you up with the momentum coming towards you. And that is one of the toughest positions to play, especially when you know that if your quarterback trusts you, he's not even going to be looking to his blind side. He's literally can't see, especially on most teams except for the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa, who's going to be slinging it as a lefty. But most right-handed quarterbacks, that blind side is the left side. So the left tackle is very important. And so for my franchise guy that I am selecting, I'm starting my franchise with today, and we're going for the next 5 years. I'm going with Mr. Trent Williams from out of Oklahoma. He has been the greatest left tackle in the draft, not even the draft, in the NFL since he's came out. He's been dependable. He's been durable. He's strong. He's tough. He's played through injuries after injuries and still thugs it out each year. There's no one better than him. He had a year off because he had some traumatic injuries. He had a tumor on his brain last year that got misdiagnosed by the terrible medical staff in Washington. I'm glad that he's first alive. I'm glad that he's doing well. He's rehabbing. I'm glad he's on a team where he can thrive and actually win a Super Bowl this year, even though the Washington football team will win a Super Bowl this year. But I'm just happy that he's doing great. Trent Williams is one of the greatest left tackles to play this game. He's done it for a long time at a high level, and he still has that ability to do it. And I'm excited to see what he does with the 49ers, especially reuniting with Kyle Shanahan again in San Francisco. Jonathan, who are you starting your franchise with?
All right. CJ made a very smart pick for his lineman. A little old. This is to start a franchise with. You want a guy who's going to be able
more
to...
seasoned, we like to say. A little bit more seasoned.
He's a little too seasoned,
That's how I like my chicken, baby.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a younger guy. Hasn't been in the league as long. CJ talked about the importance of the left side, the blind side for most quarterbacks. But, I'm here to tell you, right tackles matter as well. Because nowadays, a lot of teams put their best pass rusher on the right side of the offense. Anyway, they line up against the right tackle because the left tackles are typically better pass protectors. So they line them up on the other side to get him against what's typically seen as the weaker of the two in pass protection. It used to be that the right tackle was like the power tackle. You had your Phil Loadholtz over there.
Ooh.
Big guys, mountain guys. Just moved him in the run game. You would run to the right and left tackles for pass protecting. Now, today's game, you need two guys who can do both. And so my franchise offensive lineman I'm going to go with, he might already be the best right tackle in the NFL. He's only going into his third year. It is our fourth year now. Ryan Ramczyk of the New Orleans Saints. He played left tackle at Wisconsin. He came out in the draft with Garrett Bowles and Cam Robinson of Alabama. I personally had him as my second rated tackle in that draft. I had Cam Robinson ahead of him, which looks like a mistake right now because he is playing much better than Cam Robinson, but also much better than Garrett Bowles. So I was at least half right there. Garrett Bowles stinks. The Denver Broncos definitely regret drafting him ahead of Ryan Ramczyk, even though Ryan Ramczyk plays right tackle. He did play left tackle in college. He could probably play it in the NFL, but his position right now is right tackle. He's a stud there, pass game, run game. He does it all, like I said, you want in today's NFL. He's not the most athletic, but he's just a really good he's not unathletic either. He's just like an average athlete, but a really good technician. He's got pretty quick feet for his size, but he's not a freak athlete. He's not a Lane Johnson. He's not a I don't even know who else was a freak athlete at left tackle recently. He's not a Tyron Smith.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a freak like that. But he's also not slow. He's not a tub of lard out there on the edge. He can move his feet. He can drive you. He can route you around the quarterback if you try to run the hoop. He does it all. If he's not the best right tackle in football, he's top 3 at worst. I would go Ryan Ramczyk of the Saints, Mitch Schwartz of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Lane Johnson of the Eagles, CJ's favorite football team. But yeah, he's a stud, and the only reason he's playing right tackle is because the Saints have a top 5 left tackle already in Terran Armstead. So if you have a top 5 left tackle and a top 3 right tackle, you're in pretty good shape. And that is why the New Orleans Saints lead my ranking of the best offensive lines in the NFL for 2020 to 2021 season. You got Teron Armstead at left tackle, who came from a small school, was a 3rd-round pick. He was a freak athlete. I want to say he ran like a 4.8 as an offensive lineman, which is ridiculous at 300-some pounds, 6'6", quick feet, power. Same with Ryan Ramczyk. He can do it all, but he has the added benefit of being a little quicker to handle some of those speed rushers that they throw at you on the left side. In the interior, they've got Andres Pete, who was a 1st-round pick that they just signed to an extension from Stanford. At center, you have – who is their center? I want to say Elton Jenkins, but no, he went to Green Bay. What's his name? Give me 1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
We're doing this late at night. I can't think right now.
Yeah, Saints definitely have one of the top offensive line, especially, I mean, that whole offense is just a well-oiled machine, starting at the tippy top with Sean Payton as an offensive guru. Then the person who's directing that offense is Drew Brees, who's just been consistent. He's an athletic freak for his age, and he just keeps going to sign a 2-year, $50 million deal this offseason, which is pretty awesome. And of course, he can't do that great stuff because without, a good offensive line. We used to say 5 of a kind. Woof, that was a good chant.
Woo, that 5 of a kind was fire. Why is he not here?
But then, of course,
Eric McCoy. Yeah, from Texas A&M. He's their center. He was a rookie last year, was maybe the best rookie offensive lineman in the league last year. He's a stud. And then they drafted another stud this year, Cesar Ruiz from Michigan. He's going to be playing right guard for them after they cut Larry Warford for cap reasons. Continuity is a big boon in the offensive line game from year to year. And with them returning 4 starters, they're going to lead. That's huge. The chemistry, but especially in a shortened season like this, teams that drafted rookies and are hoping they're going to start, going to be in for a rough awakening, especially teams like the Dolphins, who I think drafted 2 or 3 potential starting linemen. It's going to be hard for them to gel.
Yeah, they have a really young team.
It's going to be hard for them to gel, but with only 1 rookie, Cesar Ruiz from Michigan, you're going to be playing guard. He played center and guard at Michigan, but by all accounts, he's a smart guy. He should be able to do it, and he can lean on 2 people who were there the year before who can help him out. I think the Saints will have the best offensive line in the league. My second offensive line is the Dallas Cowboys. No, they're not the Dallas Cowboys of old. Yes, Travis Frederick retired, but is Tyron Smith still there? Yes. Is Tyron Smith still elite? Yes. Is Lyle Collins there? Yes. Is Lyle Collins a top tier right tackle? He's not elite, but he's close. He's a stud. Yes, he's still there. Is Zach Martin the best right guard in football still there? Yes. Their
Debatable.
left. What was that?
Debatable.
Who's a better right guard?
Brandon Sheriff.
I thought you said you were making a debate, not just throwing out a name of somebody who's worse than Zach Martin. But anyway, left guard and center, we'll see what happens. They drafted Connor Williams, who was a tackle at Texas 2 years ago, and I think he'll probably be their left tackle. They drafted a center last year. So the strength of their offense is definitely the edges. Their interior is not what it has been in recent years with Travis Frederick stepping away from the game. We wish him good health. But the Cowboys off the line should also have good health. I think they'll be pretty amazing still. My third offensive line, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
If you had told somebody 4 years ago that the Colts were going to have one of the top 3 offensive lines in 4 years, they would laugh in your face, and deservedly so. The Colts offensive line had been garbage for most of Andrew Luck's career.
Yeah.
They drafted Anthony Costanzo, who has been above average.
Up and down.
Yeah, he's had some down years, but mostly an above average left tackle for a few years now. I think he's going into year 8 or 9. He's been around for a while. He's definitely the elder statesman of the group.
Yeah.
But then the Colts really started to make investments up front because they wanted to protect Andrew Luck after Andrew Luck got hurt and missed a season.
Got smacked around.
Oh, he got smacked around more than anybody not named Cam Newton for the last decade. Speaking of bad offensive lines, look at the Carolina Panthers the last decade. My goodness. They started a defensive tackle at left tackle for a couple games. Sheesh. They stink. They did not care about Cam Newton in any way, shape, or form. They did him dirty, and this is the hill I will die on. But anyway, back to the Colts. Ryan Kelly from Alabama, center, going into year 4, I want to say. Young guy, good, not great athleticism, got power, but he's a guy who can definitely anchor a line that, especially of the caliber that they have. Right tackle, they drafted Braden Smith 2 years ago out of Auburn. He's become one of the better right tackles in the league. Probably not top 5, but I think I would definitely slide him in my top 10 among right tackles. And then speaking of offensive linemen they drafted 2 years ago, you have the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, sir.
The prototype, as some are calling him, Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame, who you want to see the mentality we talked about and what makes a great offensive lineman earlier. Look up some highlights of Quentin Nelson. This dude just loves it. He's sitting here laughing while pancaking people, while running to pancake people on a sweep. He's sitting there laughing as he's pulling. That's athletic. I don't care what you tell me.
Yep.
You try to run full speed while being 300 pounds. It's not easy. I'd be out of breath doing that right now. This guy, not only is he not out of breath, he's laughing. Ridiculous. So, yeah, those are my top 3. As of right now, things could change. Honorable mention to the Philadelphia Eagles. Had Brandon Brooks not tore his Achilles, I would probably have them in my top 3. But with them down a player, they just missed my list. They still have Lane Johnson, who's a top 3 right tackle. They brought back longtime left tackle Jason Peters to replace Brandon Brooks at right guard this year.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting transition. For those of you who haven't played off the line before, the muscle memory with switching from side to side, even left tackle to right tackle, is completely different. It takes a good bit of time, an acclimation period, to retrain your body. The different hand down,
Yeah.
different way you with the different hand down, it's a different way you distribute your weight in your feet. Your hips stiffen. He's got to loosen the stiff hip now and kick inside the guard, so he's going against more power instead of the speed he's been facing for most of his career as a tackle.
Which could help him being a little bit older, Yank, where you can just hit the gym a little bit harder versus kind of really having to. You lose a step, as you get older. So it's
for sure.
It's easy to kind of, I would say easier, but it's you get a little bit more of a cushion, a little security blanket.
For sure, but usually when an older guy kicks in the guard, he does it on the same side. They don't usually flip like this.
Right.
So this will be interesting, but he is the caliber of player who is less likely to struggle than a league average player. Left tackle, they have a first-round pick from 2 years ago out of Washington State, Andre Dillard. He has some really good feet. He's athletic. He's the reason they were going to let Jason Peters walk before signing him to replace Brandon Brooks at right guard. Center, holding it down, calling the protections, making the adjustments. You got one of the best centers in the game right now, Jason Kelce, the brother of Travis Kelce, so he's an athlete.
Yes, sir.
Probably the most athletic center in the league right now, even though he's getting up there in age. I think he's 32. So not a young buck anymore, but still young enough to hold it down. Still agile, still gets it done on the move. The Eagles just missed my list, and the Packers as well. They had one of the best tackle tandems of the last 5 years with David Bakhtiari at left tackle and Brian Bulaga at right tackle. But Brian Bulaga has moved on to this Los Angeles Chargers this year. So they're down a key piece. They do have a promising rookie from last year. So going on his second year, Elton Jenkins at center, or guard. I believe he played both for them this year. He'll probably be a guard. Corey Linsley at center. So some good pieces, but they got to replace an 8-year starter, I want to say, at tackle, which is never easy. So they just missed my list as well. They would have been on my list last year, but this year is not last year. So my top 3 are the Colts, the Cowboys. No, sorry, Saints, Cowboys,
Saints first,
Colts. Yeah. CJ, what are your top 3?
So, as I step into the arena to rank these units, we have the same 3 units as our top 3. So, it's not much left for me to say. But my order is different. So, starting at number 3, I have the Saints as my list because the Saints, they're a good, solid unit. I think, they do a great job protecting Drew Brees. I feel like in terms of just kind of like run game, they haven't been upper echelon, so to speak. I would say they're of course, the run game is not as prominent for the Saints as is the pass game, so they're very elite pass protectors, and they still do the job done in the running game. Don't get me wrong. They got running backs who pop off. So I have the Saints as number 3. They have, Drew Brees is just, he doesn't go down very often. He protects them. Like when you have an elite quarterback, you have to have elite protection behind them. And the Saints have that, especially around the elite offense that they have. So that's my number 3. My number 2 team, as much as I hate to put this team in my top 3, they did such a good job back in the day when good old Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. They didn't. They drafted an offensive lineman. When they wanted to make these splash plays, they say, no, we're building this offensive line. And boy, did they build that offensive line to be a unit for years. Feared, they ran the ball heavy down your throats. Tony Romo, Dak Prescott always had protection. They were fun. I mean, except for, Tony Romo breaking his back and insert Dak Prescott. But they've really built that offensive line over the past, few years. So we got some studs, absolute studs on that offensive line. Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. These guys are just insane studs. And they have one of the best offensive line coaches, Bill Callahan, for a few years, who just does master work with offensive line and just coached them up and developing guys. And he's just a master wizard with it. And he built a unit. And then he went on to coach for Washington, which he did a good job with, but we just kind of had some injuries, which, we had potential to be a really good offensive line, which we did, but we were just missing that one piece, mostly the left guard center, really. But the Cowboys just had freak athletes. They really put offensive linemen on the map in terms of just being talked about. They just did the job. They ran the ball. Zeke has elite numbers because of this offensive line. You set up your other playmakers because of the offensive line, period. And Cowboys did that. As much as they didn't want to, as much as Jerry Jones wanted to make these splash, PR moves, they went with the boring moves, but they wound up coming together with an elite offensive line core. So that's my number 2, the Cowboys. So we got Saints at number 3, Cowboys at number 2. So what does that leave us? The Colts. The Colts with the number 1 offensive line with, God, come on, Quentin Nelson should have won Rookie of the Year as an offensive lineman. He was that freaking good. All pro as a rookie? A rookie? Come on, son. These guys, I don't even talk about anybody else. He makes this whole offensive line. They have other pieces, yes. I'm going to be ignorant to that. But Quentin Nelson alone is the face of offensive linemen, maybe besides Taylor Lewin, who's kind of this character or whatever. But Quentin Nelson is the man crush to have for offensive linemen. He is elite. And he's only in his 3rd year. We are going to see at least another, let's just say 6 years, because it's just tough nowadays in the playing offensive line in this league. You don't want to play too long to where you have, long-term damage and health. But this man's a freak, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest offensive linemen to play the game. And, the Colts were, as you said, Jonathan, were late to the game of protecting one of their franchise quarterbacks, where now they have to reshuffle and get some old-ass quarterback, Phillip Rivers, who, yes, he done it all in San Diego, but he looks like he's throwing a beach ball. So now it's now you have this great offensive line, but then you don't have the quarterback yet. I mean, if you have this great offensive line to protect Phillip Rivers, maybe he can do some things. Maybe that's the philosophy. It doesn't matter what quarterback you put behind this offensive line, they will thrive. I love their moniker that he did this past season when they had hats that just says, run the damn ball. When a team gets behind your offensive line and really they don't care about passing the ball, we want to run it down their throats. We want to have fun. And I think they are globalizing, is that the word? Or making offensive line cool, popular, making us the trendy guys. All of our lives, man, all of our lives, we've been just the fat guys, the chubby guys. He's strong, but he's a big teddy bear kind of guy. All of the offensive line types, we were not cool. We might have some guys who try to have some swag, but you have swag, but you're just a big dude with swag, with clothes that are a little bit too tight. You know who I'm talking to. I'm looking right in the camera. You know who I'm talking to. But
we won't say any names.
So I just want you to know that the Colts are changing the game in terms of coolness. Like the Colts, all right, the Saints, great offensive line. Great offensive line, but they're just the hard worker, like the old school type. They just do the job. They don't get talked about too much. Then you talk about the Cowboys who got freaks. You start talking about these guys because of their athletic ability, right? But then when we go to the Colts, we're talking about a unit who makes it, they come together. They're like a complete, these guys are all units. But the Colts, how they come together is a unit, and then the team rallies behind them and run the damn ball. Sheldon Mack, the running back for the Colts. Is it Sheldon Mack? Marlon Mack, who can pop off for a 1,000-yard season. But it doesn't even matter if he's the running back. You can put any running back behind that offensive line, and they just run the damn ball. I want one of those hats. So
by the way, they also just drafted Jonathan Taylor, who
from Wisconsin.
Yes, who I think is the all-time NCAA leading rusher.
Insane.
So you think they want to run the ball? I think they do, because they got to protect Phillip Rivers' arm because he doesn't have one anymore.
Exactly. Jacoby Brissett for starting quarterback. And if Jacoby Brissett doesn't become starting quarterback this year, Jacoby, listen to me.
Riot.
Listen to me. Go back to New England.
No, New England has Cam. What are you saying?
Cam's not going to be there forever.
Cam better
Jacoby
win MVP.
Deserves better, period.
Jacoby deserves better.
So,
no, all right, Cam deserves better too. New England, Cam is put in another position to fail. New England has no weapons right now. Julian Edelman is it.
As we note this, there's been I think around 10 players roughly from the New England Patriots that have opted out of playing for this upcoming season. That is huge.
It's been at least 3 starting defensive players.
I know it was exactly 5 people. Well, that's just bodies in general.
Dante Hightower, who's their second best defensive player behind Stephon Gilmore. Patrick Chung, who's a starting safety. Who's the third one? I can't remember. It was 3 starters, including 2 big ones right there.
And then plus the bodies alone, because, even still, if Bill Belichick doesn't have those starting guys, he's not going to be handcuffed. He's a guy who can scheme and put players in positions to make plays. But at the same time, if you have 5 to 10 people opting out, now you have to scout again and, sign more players to play for you. You need bodies. You need 11 people on the team, 11 people on each side of the ball to be able to play. But anyways, back to my thought. The coach just made the offensive line a global icon. And I think Quentin Nelson is the star that we need as they continue to grow and get younger and stronger. The coach, I think, hopefully, that's the thing. Coach offensive line is so great. Their defense is pretty top 10 defense. They have some holes, but they're a team that we thought, or at least I thought, could have made some damage last year. Jacoby just, he did what he could do. He did get hurt at the end of middle of the year. He played hurt, and he did great. He was elite. I would say elite. He was a good quarterback to start the season before he got hurt. I think he has all the tools to lead the team, especially on short notice of when Andrew Luck retired. And then again, they are playing him dirty with another quarterback. All we know, Phillip Rivers could retire again before
today.
And he could be, but I know that Jacoby Brissett can bring this team to a playoff when he's fully healthy, period. But enough for the top 3 offensive lines. That's who we have. To the final segment of the day, we playing a little fantasy. We are building our fantasy offensive lines, and I'm going to start it off because my fantasy offensive line is about maturity, is about season, and it's about who do you trust to get you there in the playoffs, and so when you don't have to worry about it. So my starting left tackle, as I talked about the player that I'm starting my franchise with, I am going with Trent Williams, period. He is my franchise guy. He is my number 1 pick. There's nothing else I got to say. Trent Williams is the guy. He is my left tackle. I'm okay with having Mitchell Trubisky at left tackle and knowing Mitchell Trubisky is my quarterback and having Trent Williams as my left tackle and knowing Mitchell Trubisky will have time in the pocket to throw a dud or overthrow his receiver down the field.
Trubisky stinks.
At left guard.
Hey, remember when the Bears passed on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes for Mitch Trubisky?
We're talking about they passed on Michael Jordan for Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson. No, not Deshaun Watson first. Patrick Mahomes, who now is a part owner of the Kansas City Royals.
City Royals, yep.
And Deshaun Watson. Insane. Freaking insane.
Not only did they do that, they traded up to do it. Traded up for Mitch Trubisky.
Yep. It's like the Jets traded for Sam Darnold on pick.
Sam Darnold's not as bad as Trubisky. Yeah, he's not great, but he ain't as bad as
He's
Trubisky.
still, I mean, this is going to be a big year for him to see what he can do. Hopefully he can get rid of that strep throat, you know what I'm saying?
It was, like
mono. Excuse me. It was
mono. It was mono.
Yeah, the kissing disease.
Yeah, he kissed his high school girlfriend. But anyway.
Speaking of kissing, now we're going to continue back to our fantasy lineup. My left guard is going to be Roger Saffold from the good old boy Tennessee Titans. Who I love the mentality of that offense of just run the ball with Derrick Henry. You got to power back. I mean, of course, you have to build a stud of offensive line. Especially, I love, honestly, the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel. I would want to run through walls for that coach. He is that coach that I think he could be. He's working his way to be one of the next elite coaches for the leading men and bringing a team together. He was a player for the New England Patriots. Then he started as a defensive coordinator or a defensive assistant. He made his rank. He made his way up the ranks very fast to becoming the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. I feel like the Tennessee Titans is like a perfect team for Mike Vrabel, and I just love what they did last year in their run. Which, if they can get some core back and to really kind of get that gel going, they can go far again. Especially if Ryan Tannehill continues on that run that he had at the end of last year. Next, for my center position, which is very pivotal for spot protections and knowledge, you really need a smart center. I'm going Ryan Kelly from the Indianapolis Colts, the number 1 offensive unit I'm talking. And he's going to be that glue, that brainchild. He's young enough. He has that mobility to really just do it for us because we are a tough, gritty unit. And that's the identity that I'm building. These 3 guys that I've already put together, Trent, Roger, and Ryan, these guys are gritty guys. They tough and just war ready. And of course, when we go to the right side, we talking Brandon Sheriff from Iowa, an Iowa boy. You can't go wrong with the Iowa boy, right? See, Brandon Sheriff had a little bit of injury issues last year, which kind of derailed him. But he's a tough guy. He was a Pro Bowler the year before. Strong hands, really good feet. Just a great right guard who's still really young. He's only in his he's going into his 5th year this year, which I think he got franchise tagged. Did he get franchise tag this year?
Yeah.
Yes, he got franchise tag.
So it's year 6.
So this is year 6, which is still pretty good. He got seasoned on him. He's not too fresh, but he's also still in his prime of his career. And then we're going right tackle, and we're talking about the greatest right tackle, one of the best fan bases of right tackles. I'm talking about the God, Morgan Moses, from good old Virginia. The man is strong hands, nimble feet. Just when people go up against him, they just frail. They just get intimidated, and they just don't want to play. Because Morgan Moses is an intimidator. He's a gangster. He's a G. He's battle tested. He is exactly the last final piece that fits into this offensive line unit. And cool, we're gonna be a bunch of gangsters out there playing offensive line, baby. Let's get it. Who you got, Jonathan? Fantasy top 5. Let's get it.
All right. I think CJ's fandom for the football team came through there with those last 2 picks. While they're good players, I don't know if they're at the top of their positions. Also, a little background on this. We made sure we didn't pick the same 2 players for any position because that would have been boring. We could have had the same 5 players, and nobody wants that. So CJ went with one of the best left tackles in the league, in Trent Williams. I am going to follow with one of the top 4 left tackles in the league, David Bakhtiari of the Green Bay Packers. He's not a stud in the run game, but he is far and away the best pass blocking left tackle in the league, which is what you want on the blind side. You just throw him out there on an island and nothing gets by him. The dude is ridiculous. Left guard, I have the phenom, Quentin Nelson. Stud. Gets it done. Pass game, run game, pulling. He's just everything you want in an offensive lineman. Center, I've got Jason Kelsey of the Philadelphia Eagles. Still really nimble, even though he's a little older. He's 32, but he's my elder statesman of my group. Seasoned at, I think he's 32 years old. He's been around for a while. He's seen some things. He's won a Super Bowl, so he's got that playoff experience. And he can help my younger guys out. Right guard, I've got Zach Martin of the Dallas Cowboys. CJ gave me some layups here. I got the best guard tandem in the league easily. Best left guard, best right guard, best guard tandem. So, yeah, good luck trying to get through the middle. When you got the 2 best guards in football, a top 3 center in the league, you're not getting through there. Pass game, run game, doesn't matter. You're not coming through. Right tackle, I've got my guy, my pick to start my franchise with, Ryan Ramczyk of the New Orleans Saints. So I've got a very good bookends on my tackles. Young, but also a solid vet in the middle in Jason Kelsey. So I have some experience there. So a good mix of experience and youth, power and technique, but all brains, all brawn. This would easily be the best offensive line in the league
on
today. No.
On paper, yes.
In
you
real
will
life.
Definitely have one of the
In
best
real
offensive
life.
lines.
On paper, on papyrus, on stone tablet, on walls as a hieroglyph, in real life, in fantasy, in Madden.
See, listen.
Any place you can put them, the best offensive line.
My offensive line was perfectly constructed because of the fact that I went the route of a little bit more seasoned guys who are tough. And it's not just about being top at your position. It's about also gelling, finding the right kind of gangsters to put together in the group. You can have a bunch of 5-star Kentucky. We're going to basketball for a quick analogy. Kentucky every year has a bunch of 5-star recruits, right? Just because you put a bunch of 5-star guys in the starting lineup doesn't mean that they're going to gel together and win a national championship. Yes, it's happened before, maybe once. I think Kentucky won like one national championship, just one.
I think I got 2 or 3. I know Anthony Davis definitely got
Yeah,
one.
Anthony Davis got. Oh, I think with the Twins, right?
Yeah, the Harrison twins got one.
So they got about 2 national championships. Yes, it can
Did
happen.
Boogie and John Wall get one?
I don't
I don't think
think
so.
so. But you can bring together some of the top talents. Yes, you're going to have a good team on paper, but it's about gelling. And I think these guys that I've constructed, I put together, really have the same mindset. And I think they all will do well together as we win games in the playoffs. And they just got that swagger. And I think that's something also we got to talk about. It's the swag. And I think my offensive line has a lot of swagger, has a lot of juice, and it's not too young. And I think if you lean a little bit heavy young, I know I could have went younger, but at the same time, you need a little bit of that seasoned guy. You don't want people who are going to frail, who's going to back down under pressure. You know, in the playoffs is a pressure cooker, and I got guys who have swag who that's not going to do nothing. They're not going to sweat in the sauna. They're just going to look cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah. I don't know.
But there's multiple ways to skin a cat, as a wily old veteran once told me. But that is all that we have for you guys today. That's all the time that we have today. This has been a phenomenal episode. Of course, we had to go all out for you guys for the offensive line episode because this is near and dear our hearts. Like we are offensive linemen to this day. You know what I'm saying?
To this day.
We had to go all out. And so this was so much fun talking about. We got to put some respect on the offensive line. We got to keep, pushing the brand for the offensive linemen. Just how Pat McAfee pushes the brand for the punters. The O-line needs more representation and more glam appeal. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we did for you guys today. And the preseason is starting to wind down, my friends. And it's almost game time. Aren't you excited? Because I'm sure excited. We got some
very excited,
awesome new plays and new things that we are ready to show you guys and to implement some trick plays.
A quarterback controversy coming with the Washington football team.
I don't think there's any controversy, but there could be controversy, in New England, Indianapolis, San Diego.
Nah, it's in Washington.
Miami.
The question is
Jacksonville.
Who is going to be the starting QB?
It's going to be.
Is it going to be
Dwayne
Alex Smith?
No,
who has been cleared by his doctors, has yet to be cleared by the Washington football team doctors to resume football activities.
Let me just go ahead.
If it was last year's Washington football team doctors, he probably would have been cleared last year because they cleared a man who had cancer.
Yes.
He had a cancerous tumor in his head. And they were like, no,
you're good.
It's a headache. Throw on this helmet. You'll be fine.
Terrible doctors, and they're out of here. I'm just going to squash the rumors before
they're replaced,
you finish.
With the doctors
from Carolina
who cleared Cam Newton when he couldn't move his shoulder.
So
had no feeling in his throwing arm, and they cleared him to play. So I don't think they got any better, my guy.
We'll see what happens. But just to squash these rumors, this is Dwayne Haskins' team. Alex Smith. I watched the Project 11 doc, and man, it was gruesome. He went through hell and back, and I'm so glad that he's been cleared by his doctors to even try to play football after that. And I'm rooting for him for sure. Like, I want him to have another opportunity to play football, but this is Dwayne Haskins' team. And if Dwayne Haskins doesn't prove himself this year, then okay, let's bring in Alex Smith. But as of today, and at the start of the season, I want Dwayne Haskins to thrive. I want Alex Smith to mentor him, to continue to develop him as best as he can and show the abilities that he does have. But if not, hey, Alex Smith, let's do it. You know, we were 6-3 before you got hurt. We were first place in the NFC East. A lot of people forget that. Even with the trash coach of Jay Gruden, good luck, Jacksonville. We'll see. I mean, Alex Smith is a great quarterback. I mean, people don't realize how great he was. You know, he was, fun fact, drafted ahead of Aaron Rodgers. How fun would it be if, let's say, Alex Smith gets cleared, he maybe asks for a release or trade, gets drafted to say, or not drafted, get traded to maybe back up the Green Bay Packers? And especially if Jordan Love is, booty. Who knows?
I don't think we're going to see much of Jordan Love unless Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, which he shouldn't get hurt because the offensive line is still really good. But boy,
or his feelings is already hurt, so he's already halfway
they're
there.
Big hurt because his receiving weapons, he has 40-year-old Mercedes Lewis as his number one tight end, and Devontae Adams as wide receiver one is top 5 wide receiver. Okay, great. Outside of him, leaves a lot to be desired. They're only free agent signing at the position only acquisition this year at the position because they didn't draft a wide receiver. Devin Funchess, they signed him, formerly of the Carolina Panthers, signed with the Colts last year, got hurt, missed the season, signed with the Packers this year, was supposed to be that second threat in the passing game opposite Devontae Adams. He's opted out of the season due to coronavirus. So the Packers basically just said, yeah, Aaron, we know you don't have any weapons, but we'd rather get your backup and your replacement than get some help for you. So he's upset, understandably so. There were a lot of good, talented receivers available for them when they selected Jordan Love.
A lot.
But I also get it from the Packers' perspective. Aaron Rodgers can't be there forever. It's good to have the next guy in there learning so he's ready to step in when Aaron Rodgers does move on. But if you're going to take that approach in the draft, you got to get somebody in free agency, which they failed to do. So I feel bad for Aaron Rodgers. Stinks to be him.
It does. Stinks to be a Green Bay Packers fan. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the stream. Thank you for watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching this right now. We have been, grinding. We've been doing this for you guys. We've had a lot of fun, kind of figured out how we'll get our footing in for the season 1. I mean, everything is tentative. We're still working on developing it. This is our first year in the program. We're getting the team right. We're trying to build the culture, how we want to go. Exactly. And so as we continue to build, we hope you guys continue to watch, continue to follow us, and follow us on the journey of the season. We're really excited. Pretty soon we're going to be talking about NBA basketball. Yes, sir. Let's move on to a little basketball. Let's talk about some basketball skills.
Basketball's actually back tonight.
Yeah, tonight, as time of recording, the NBA season has just started. So we'll do some live streams about basketball. We'll react to some highlights, some stuff like that once we get into the season. There hasn't been an official date of the season start for us. But once the season do start, I expect us to do some live streams of just us talking, interacting. There'll be some, pre-recorded videos and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff for you guys. Trust me, we've got so many cool ideas for you guys, and we cannot wait for you guys to check it out. And I just want to be real quick. We got 30 seconds, okay? So, have you guys heard about this thing that a lot of people have been doing in quarantine? They've been buying up web cameras and using it to pay for their bills. I'm kind of curious about it, and maybe we can implement it somehow into this, like giveaways. Is that something people like? Giveaways? It's something. It's only something. Only if I can remember what that site was called. We'll
Maybe
talk about it later down the road.
maybe our fans can help us figure it out, CJ.
Yeah, but only if I had more time today for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. This has been the preseason, the prelude to Hate2Pylon. Hate2Pylon is coming right there. The season's right here, my guy. The season's right here, or my girl. The season's right there. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Remember to follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Hate2Pylon. Follow the YouTube channel, CJT Creation Box on YouTube. Follow my IG as well, CJT Creation Box on IG. Also follow Jonathan on Twitter, John E underscore football.
Yes.
On Twitter. Just follow us, man, and tag along, put that bell notification on so you know when we post the next videos. And let's get it going, guys. Sports is back, and I'm so excited. Who knows for how long, but let's cherish every moment that we get. You know, let's just really enjoy this. And
because we don't know how long it's going to be here. Baseball's already looking like it might be shut down possibly.
You're out of here!
We hope not, but and we got to sacrifice one of these sports. I need basketball. I need football. So baseball
and NASCAR, you can go.
You got to go.
But we want to talk about sports. We want to be the most well-rounded sports talk show in the history of sports talk shows. We would throw jabs at every sport, whether it's golf, basketball, WNBA, baseball, softball, cricket, UFC, MMA, boxing, volleyball, handball, track and field. I'm going. I can't think of any other
e-gaming.
Sports. Yes, sir. Because, of course, we want to Twitch, you know. We know about the e-gaming. You know what I'm saying? But we are going to get there, guys. Follow us on our journey. This is just the beginning. This is season 1. We're rookies. Again, thank you. I can't stop thanking you guys enough. And I am out of here. Jonathan is out of here. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out. Kyle Allen season.